If you are a new coach or an existing coach and you want to make sales or more sales of your coaching packages, you are going to love this video because today I'm going to share a really powerful tip that I haven't seen anyone else talk about for making more sales of your premium coaching packages. So this tip is something that I totally stumbled on by accident. So I've been running this coaching business for about 8 years now as of this video recording. And for my first, I would say about 4 to 5 years, I sold a lot of coaching packages. These days, I sell more courses and coaching packages, but whenever I do a sales call or whenever I teach a sales call, I still teach this tip because it makes such a big difference. And back when I was doing a lot of sales calls and selling a lot of coaching, doing this is what made the difference, or one of the biggest things that made a difference in allowing me to sell 5,000 plus coaching packages, often to people who had just quote unquote met me within a day or two, or maybe a week or two, and went from being like, who is this woman, to, hey, I am ready and excited to buy from you. I trust you. No salesiness, no quote unquote persuasion or anything like that necessary. Just honest, feel good selling where the person is excited to buy from you. That's the tip I'm going to share with you today. Now, to understand this tip, what we have to set the context for is that yes, people buy coaching for the results, for your guidance, for the transformation, all of those things. But even more than that, the reason why people buy coaching for those things, because you can argue that any product should deliver the result, the transformation that it promises. People buy coaching specifically for the customization. They want someone, the coach, to be able to guide them, to be able to maybe help hold them accountable, to help them feel confident when they are thinking, I don't know if I can really do this, to show them what's possible, to point out the things that they don't know. All of that essentially being customized guidance for them. So when you remember that can completely shift the way that you sell. And I'm going to tell you, the way that I stumbled upon this tip was completely by accident. So important context, because I think this will set the stage for how you feel about doing this yourself as well. So I'm Asian, obviously, and I grew up in Texas. So the whole Texas Southern kind of politeness was ingrained into me, not to mention it's just a very innate part of my culture. So those two things combined meant that I was taught growing up to be incredibly polite, and when I was talking to someone, to make sure that I was actually really listening to them and making the conversation about them versus about me. In fact, as a whole side note, I was taught like, you don't talk about yourself. That's rude. We'll unlock that whole thing another day, maybe. But that turned out really well for helping me when it came to selling, because what I would do when I was about to sell a coaching package to someone and I knew I could help them, I would lay out for them in a very customized way how my package specifically would help them. And I'll give you an example so that you can do this for yourself as well. But I want to explain this first so that you can really grasp the principle, which is going to make applying this to you a lot easier. And so I would share the same steps. Everyone would get coached through the same process. And this applies no matter what industry you're in. I did career coaching, I did Microsoft Excel coaching, I did digital advertising consulting / coaching, and then I did business coaching. So no matter what industry you're in, this principle applies, as long as you're selling coaching or really basically any sort of service. And so what I would do is I would have the steps that I would help someone through, and then I would explain to them specifically based on the conversation I'd had with that person, where I was listening on a sales conversation. I wasn't thinking about how can I sell this person. Frankly, if I thought that, I would have gotten into my head. I probably would have been like, oh my God, I need to say the perfect thing, the perfect script, and what am I going to say? And just freaked out about that, not heard anything that person was actually saying to me. So I just thought, okay, what am I good at doing? I'm good at listening. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to listen. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to really think about what they're telling me and how I can help them specifically, which honestly I think feels better to most of us anyways than thinking about how do I get the right sales language to be perfect and convince someone anyways. And then when it came time to talking about how my coaching package specifically would help them, I was able to take all the things that I had learned about that person and all the things I'd been thinking about how I could specifically help them in their situation. And then I would explain it to them while explaining the steps of my process so that they had the steps, the same steps I walked everyone through, just a little bit different for every person. And then they would feel like it was really customized to them because they would understand how the steps would work specifically for them, or how our coaching would make sure that the steps would work specifically for them. So once you understand this, let's talk about a specific example. So I'm going to use health coaching as an example. If you have been around at least a few of my videos, you know I love to use health coaching as an example. I've never been a health coach. I have worked with health coaches, a lot of them, but I just think it's something that so many of us relate to because we all have to eat and think about our health. So let's say I'm a health coach and I've got a really simple process for helping people, and it's 4 steps. The 4 steps are: first, I get a feel for your current eating habits and what's going on with you and what you're struggling with. And then the first thing we do once I understand that is we reset your eating. Maybe I put you on a cleanse to clean out the sugar and the things that are really unhealthy and that you don't want to be eating as much of. Then after we do that, step number 2 is I customize an eating plan for you based on your health goals and what you like to eat and your lifestyle and everything that needs to be taken into account. Then as we start implementing that, I get clear on your mental and emotional blocks related to eating. Maybe you tend to overeat, or you have certain things that trigger your overeating. We get clear on that and what's going on so that you can clear the emotional pieces of food and your health as well. And then as the very last step, after we've really set this up so you know how to handle your eating in every situation, you feel amazing about it, you are in control, then we add in some custom workouts based on your lifestyle and your goals, just to make sure that you're getting that exercise in however you can and however it works for you and feeling good. So 4 really simple steps. Let's say, again, I'm a pretend health coach, and those are the steps for my coaching package for every single person that I coach. So how I mean when I say customize, as the coach, when you are selling, when you're on a sales call, when you're explaining in an email, the context doesn't really matter, or the way that you're doing it doesn't matter. The principles apply no matter what specifics. And so let's say though that I'm on a sales call and I've been listening to a potential client tell me about their struggles, what they want, and everything that I need to know to be able to know if I can help them or not. And I've been really understanding that situation. And okay, now I know I can help this person and I know exactly why my program is going to be really good for them. So we're at the point of the sales call where I'm introducing my offer and explaining why I think it's a good fit for them. Now, I want you to notice my language here. I'm not thinking about, okay, I need to convince someone that my offer is great for them. I already believe it. That's key number 1. If you don't believe it, no one else will. As the coach, you have to have the most confidence set in your coaching ability. And so I believe it. I truly believe I can help this person. If I don't believe I can help this person or somehow they're not a good fit, I'm going to let them know we're going to end the call and we don't need to move forward. But let's assume that I know I can help them. Then I'm sitting here thinking, all right, with my specific steps, based on these specific things that you told me, I absolutely can help you, because let me walk you through what the steps that we're going to work through to make sure you overcome your specific blocks and we can get you to your end goal of, let's say, losing 20 pounds and feeling amazing about yourself and all the things that you said you wanted. So let me walk you through how this coaching program would work. There are 4 steps that we are going to use to make sure we cover all the aspects of your weight loss and health. The first step that we are going to do is we are going to overcome your fears and work through them for why you can't lose weight. Because let's say this person said, my number 1 fear is that I can't lose the weight because I just love to eat. I don't want to feel deprived. I've tried things before, but ultimately, if I have to not eat the foods that I love, this is not going to work. And I just think that's why nothing I've tried has worked for me. Let's say that that's that person's number 1 fear. Right away, I'm going to address it and say, you know what? Step number one, we're going to figure out why you think that. And I'm going to give you a very clear education on foods and the foods that you love specifically and how you can eat them and incorporate them into your plan while being healthy and losing the weight. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a clear reset where we're going to have you eating super clean and healthy. We're going to try some new foods that I think you might like based on what you told me. And you might find that actually a lot of the foods that you actually love can be really healthy, or there are some really healthy foods that you can love and eat. And so we're going to find this fine balance for you of being able to eat what you love while losing weight. That's the same step one that I mentioned when I was saying my generic 4 steps as a health coach. But notice how I just customized it a little bit to explain to that person how this step applies specifically to them. And again, this applies no matter what industry coaching you are in. And again, this is not about changing up your coaching program for each person. It's the same 4 steps, but what you're doing is you as the coach, you know how specifically you're going to help that person. That person doesn't know it because that's not their area of expertise. It's your job to know how you're going to coach them. And so with that, once you're able to explain this, they can see, oh, I can see how this works for me specifically, how it's going to help me overcome these fears and these things that I'm thinking. And oh, wow, this makes so much more sense versus a generic 4-step plan that I might be thinking may or may not work for me. So that's step one. And then step number 2, figuring out your eating plan. I'm going to help you figure out an eating plan that works for you, for your body, while being foods that you enjoy. And I think what you're going to find is that it's not about depriving yourself, but about getting clear on the portion size and how you eat and how you think about your food so that you're able to eat the things that you love, but you get full faster, you feel even more satisfied, so you have a tendency, you no longer have the tendency to overeat, and you feel good while eating what you love. Again, do you see how I'm customizing it for that specific person's concerns, and I'm explaining how this will work for them? I'm not giving free coaching. I'm not changing my program because I don't need to. I'm simply explaining how my program is different for that person specifically. So let's say that's step 2. Now, step 3, where if you remember, the generic step is we overcome the mental fears and emotional blocks that someone might have around eating and weight loss. Here I'd say, okay, we already know your top fear is that you can't eat the foods that you love and still be healthy and be at your ideal weight. So we're going to go through that, see what's coming up, see any other emotional pieces that are maybe also holding you back that you might not even be aware of, and we're going to work through them so that you're going to have this amazing relationship with food. You're going to know what to eat, when to eat it, you're going to feel good about it, and you are never going to feel like you have to deprive yourself at all. All right? So again, customizing it, but not really changing it. And then step 4 is customizing that workout. Let's say this person has told me that they are really busy and they don't have time to do a lot of workouts and they don't like working out. So I would say, okay, you know what, based on what you shared, what we're going to do is, because let's say you have a dog, we're going to build in some exercise for you walking your dog. That's already really great walking, 30 minutes to an hour a day. And then I know you are really busy. You have a family as well. I love teaching these specific types of workouts, HIIT workouts, for example, that are really fast and really high intensity and are going to help you lose and keep that weight feeling good while having fun. And so you're going to be able to fit it in 20 minutes, 15 minutes of a busy day. You're not going to work up a huge sweat or anything, and you're going to be good. Guys, again, I'm not a health coach. I'm just giving you an example of how I would customize my program no matter what to address that specific person's concerns. And so when you do this, do you notice how big of a difference that makes to the feel of the program, where it's no longer a step-by-step thing and you're just reciting something. You're not looking for the perfect words. You're literally stepping into your power as a coach. You're demonstrating that you know what you're talking about, that you can help that person. But the beauty of this is you're demonstrating it without having to do free coaching, without having to convince anyone or persuade anyone. You are demonstrating it through the most powerful way possible, which is literally sharing how you are going to help that person. And through doing this, that person's going to realize, oh, wow, you know what you're talking about. You're already thinking about how you're going to coach me, and it's very clear to you. You have no doubt. I can see that. You've shown me versus telling me, which is a lot more powerful. And everything you said is addressed to me specifically. So all my fears that this wouldn't work for me specifically, you've already covered without having to do any objection handling. And through these two things, you've built trust in me as the potential client that you, the coach, can absolutely help me. So with all of that, yeah, I'm going to be excited to hear more about how I can work with you, what the pricing is, and it's going to feel a whole lot better without having to do the usual stuff that a lot of people teach that feel maybe a little bit not so great when it comes to sales. I've never done that, and frankly, I don't believe that you have to. So with that, if you found that helpful and you're thinking, okay, this is really great. Now, how do I fit it into my overall sales process, especially for sales calls? I do have another video for you on exactly how to do that. A very simple, feel-good discovery call, sales call script to go through. And then as you go through it, you'll be able to see exactly where this customization piece fits. So that again, it's a very natural conversation that leads into a sale for you. So if you want that, I'm going to put that video up for you right here somewhere on the screen, and I will see you in that video.